What is up, guys? We're back, and it only took 6 months into the year for us to make our first video.
Welcome back, guys. Good to have you guys back. Today we're talking about field monitors.
Field monitors, yes, they've quickly become our favorite pieces of gear, especially when it comes to event videography, because it's very hard to rely on a small 3-inch screen in your camera for anything like exposure, focus, composition. So we're always on the lookout for new field monitors. And it just so happens that a company called Shimbol reached out to us and provided us a unit for review.
Let's check it out. All right, guys, here it is again. The Shimbol Memory 1. It's a 5.5-inch field monitor and recorder. And Shimbol was nice enough to send it out to us for review. And again, full disclosure, we're not being paid for this. They don't have a say in what goes into our video. We just wanted to review it and share our thoughts with you guys about it.
Yeah, so we've put it through its paces. We've done a couple tests, and we've compared it to some of our other field monitors. We have 3 monitors here. One is the Shimbol, which is apparently 2,000 nits. So we'll see about that. And we have pretty much the industry standard right now is the Atomos Shinobi.
Yep.
That's about 1,000 nits. And we have a little older boy monitor. That's still a good monitor, small HD Focus 5. And that one's 800 nits. And they're all about in the $300 price range. So they're all getting the same feed, and we're gonna play videos of some things that we shot in the past. All right, so are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it. Okay. All right. I like what you've done here with the setup. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm seeing this monitor here in the middle is the brightest. Are they all at the brightest?
They're on max settings.
They're on max settings. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm thinking that is the new Shimbol. There's a little bit of a color difference. Even being indoors, it's really nice to have this much brighter option. Are we gonna reveal which one right now, or are you gonna tell me which one's what? Or
I'll tell you once you tell me. What do you think?
Okay, so I think this is the Shimbol. This seems to be the brightest. The other two are very similar. I want to say that this is the Shinobi Atomos, and that is the small HD. That's my final answer. Shinobi, Shimbol, and small HD. Judging just by what I'm seeing here, I'm pretty sure that this is the Shimbol.
Two weeks later.
Yeah, I was fully expecting you to pick it out just like that.
The brightness,
as soon as you see
it gives it away.
We have tested this more in depth. That video was about 2 weeks ago, and now we've run it through its paces even more, and we're gonna go into it. Let's talk a little bit about specs. So for inputs, it has, again, HDMI in, and it has for output HDMI out. The HDMI in goes DCI 4K up to 25p, and out is 1080p. It has USB-C, which is really nice to see because that's the best connector right now. It's got the headphone out, so if you need to monitor. It also has an SD card for recording and also for loading in some custom LUTs.
Battery life. So super important to kind of know and be familiar with the battery life on this on any monitor, any piece of equipment that you have. You need to know how long it's going to last you and what you need for your day setup. We did a little test to see how the battery ran on this monitor. We also compared it to the Shinobi and the small HD Focus. On these are the NPF 970s. I mean, it's a pretty chunky battery, but we tested them with all 3 monitors. The Shimbol Memory, this monitor came in at a runtime of about 4.5 hours at that brightness. The Shinobi was at about 5.5 hours, and then the small HD, the Focus, was a whopping 7 hours and 47 minutes. Woo. Almost 8 hours of runtime. Again, this is a brighter monitor, so it is going to draw more power, and that's something that you need to account into.
Shinobi, again, it's 1,000 nits. So for that to last 5.5, and for 2,000 nits to last 4.5, I think it's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, very efficient, that thing.
All right, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about boot up time, which we did kind of ran into when we were doing the battery comparison, because we turned them all on at the same time. And we had noticed that the Shimbol does take its time when it's booting up.
Yep.
Again, the numbers are on screen, but the Shimbol booted up about 26 seconds. The Shinobi took 11.5 seconds. And the small HD was about 4 seconds.
Yeah, it was
very impressive.
Up and running. And that's super important when you're trying to get a shot. You're trying to get the camera going and the monitor going. Like, sometimes you just need to get it working as soon as possible. And the small HD really takes the win on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's even more important when you're trying to save the battery life, right? You don't want it constantly always on. So if you're shooting a whole day on one battery, then you would turn it off when you're not using it. And
right.
I have run into some cases where I have had to use my monitor screen because I was ready to shoot and something was happening, but the Shimbol was still booting up. Let's talk about brightness, which is where this monitor really shines. Get it? Shine. Anyway, again, 2,000 nits of brightness blows the other two out of the water, and very, very competitive for all the other monitors that are available. Visually, it's probably 2,000 nits, but that's not enough. So we went ahead and did some testing. Okay, we're here doing some brightness test. So since we don't have a fancy spectrometer, we have to use our little iDisplay Pro, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have out there. We have it hooked up to the Mac on iProfiler, and we're measuring brightness. So as you can see right now, this thing is on the desk and it's measuring a 0, right? We're gonna measure the camera first as a point of reference to see how bright the back of the camera is. We have here a fully overexposed, completely white image. What's your prediction?
I mean, it looks brighter than
Small HD.
than the small HD, so I would say this is gonna come
That's
in
probably
at about 800.
800? Okay. I would say it's 700. Oh, we're both
This is
wrong.
pretty bright. This is coming
at
in
900.
at 908.
That is creeping into the Shinobi territory right there.
that's pretty good.
That's impressive. This is in the sunny weather preset. All right. That's our point of reference. Let's start off with small HD. Again, the small HD is rated at 800 on the spec sheet. And 496.
Ooh, that's much lower than what it's rated at.
That's a lot lower.
Almost half.
I wonder if it's because it's older. I don't know. That is not looking good for the small HD. No wonder it lasts long. All right, let's go to the next one.
Try Shinobi. The
Shinobi's 1,000 nits.
1,000 nits, yep.
All right.
There's the image.
1,000 nits. What's it gonna be?
Oh,
1,029.
1,029. That is pretty accurate.
Over delivering.
Over delivering a bit, yeah. Okay.
Which
so
we kind of expect with Atomos, because they're a pretty big brand when it comes to monitors.
They probably want accuracy.
They're gonna get called out.
yeah. And that kind of also tells us that while we're doing our test is pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. That this is measuring pretty close
to what it should be. All right, so this is going to be the Shimbol Memory 1.
All right, so when it comes to third parties, it's usually harder to trust the spec sheet. Because but just looking at that, they just kicked up.
Yeah, you saw that?
Hey, look, I can light you with this.
Yeah, it could be like, whoa, that is bright. That is bright. All right, ready? All
right, let's see. All right, we're looking at 1776.
Okay.
Again, it falls short of the 2,000 nits, but it's still pretty bright.
That's very bright. It's a little short of 2,000.
Yeah. I mean, it could be our measuring device, but again, this is just a point of reference since we're using the same device on everything.
You know, I think one feature that I've thought about that would be nice for this specific monitor is maybe a little hood clip-on or something. But even without it, like it's plenty bright.
You know what? I was just moving the thing, and it's brighter in some spots. And right now, it's hitting 1845.
Oh, okay.
So it's not uniform brightness, but there is some truth to that 2000. There you go, guys. Those are the numbers. We'll put them up on screen. Yeah, as you can see, they are all pretty close to their marketed nits value. Maybe the Shinobi is the most accurate. In that topic, let's talk about the resolution and the color.
Yeah, I had no issues with the colors that kind of the Shimbol shows. I think some of them you can see more contrast in. Some of the colors just don't seem to match, but the colors were fine on this, even with the LUTs that we threw on there. No problems there.
Build quality, as far as build, this feels great. It's all metal as marketed. It feels like, I don't know, what would you say it feels like?
This is an aluminum build. It looks like it's maybe a single mold of aluminum. It's solid. It feels great in the hand. It doesn't feel cheap at all. It's got two fans in the back. Actually, only one of these has a fan. But great build. I'm still blown away that they were able to produce this for $279.
We've actually dropped it a little bit, and we might get that on a close-up. But yeah, it took a hit, but it held up. It held up pretty nicely. A little ding in the corner. Next up is size and weight.
This is a 5.5 inch, perfect for run and gun. It's 238 grams, so it's a little bit heavier than the Shinobi at 196 grams. And a lot heavier than the Focus 5 at 106 grams.
And one thing to note is the footprint. This is about 0.3 inches bigger than the Shinobi, but when you put them side to side, they're almost exactly the same footprint.
Right.
So that's good because it has slightly smaller bezels, which gives you more screen for the same footprint. As far as features, this monitor has peaking, vector scope, waveform, LUTs, zebras. LUTs, we weren't able to load our custom LUTs, but I'm guessing that's just because it's pre-production firmware, but you are supposed to be able to do that. While the Shinobi has a little bit more bells and whistles here and there, it has maybe more LUTs, and it has like anamorphic D-squeeze and lift gamma gain adjustments, which are really not as commonly used as the other features, but it really has everything you could ask for.
Yeah, I think I'd still rather take the monitor at this price point that is also a recorder.
True.
Really loving this.
All right, guys, so now we're outdoors. It's super sunny out, and I can still see the monitor, which is a great feature of having that 2000 nits. We're also going to be testing the internal recorder quality. This is 1080p 60 on the recorder, and then we're also rolling our i7 IV at 1080p 60 to be able to compare that for you guys.
This is currently recording in the highest recording format that it can do, which is XT. And we'll see. Right now we're in super broad daylight, and we'll see how the dynamic range holds up and all that. Okay, so here we have S-Log3 of both internal and external. The Sony on the left, the Shimbol on the right. It's a little bit harder to make out the differences here, so on the next clip, we're gonna apply a LUT. Here you can see that there is a slight banding on the right side for the Shimbol, and this is probably due to the fact that it does record 420 8-bit, which is not very gradable footage.
All right, now we're punching into the image, and you can see here from the Shimbol, it's a bit more of a pixelated image punching in, a lot less detail. Now on the Sony, you can see that that's a lot more detail, a lot more smooth, definitely better looking image. Here's a side-by-side, and you can definitely see the difference between the two. All right, and here we have one more shot of a side-by-side. Again, Sony on the left, Shimbol on the right, and as you can see, I wouldn't use it as my primary shot, but it is a great backup shot.
Granted, this is just a bonus feature. It's not something that we would use most of the time. But it is nice to have if you're in a pinch, or if you have a single slot recorder camera,
A7C, yep.
A7C, you can dual record potentially.
That's nice, yep.
But there are some things, maybe it's could be firmware updated, like the trigger wasn't working when you hit record. Usually on a Shinobi or another recorder, you hit record on your camera, it also records on your recorder.
Yep.
So that wasn't working. At this price point, you're already getting a lot from this monitor.
Oh yeah, we're just kind of nitpicking those little
Yeah.
things, but it's a great solid monitor.
User interface, I would say it gets the job done. It's nothing fancy.
Yep.
It has function keys. If you look at it here, it has 3 assignable function keys, so you could have that as your waveform, as your
You can
piece.
customize those, right?
Yeah, customize that. So what do we think of it?
I think it's a keeper. I think if you're in the market for getting a new monitor, I know you're going to see a lot of those big brands like Small HD and Automos. But if you are in a market for a new monitor, definitely check out the Shimbol Memory 1. Again, it's $279, great build, great design, and the biggest flex, the 2000 nits brightness, which is just a beast, and the fact that it's a 1080p recorder, that's pretty sweet. I love it. It's definitely my new favorite monitor.
To put it simply, the Shimbol Memory is a bigger, brighter, cheaper monitor than competitors in its price range. It has some drawbacks like maybe slow boot up time and slightly washed out colors and full brightness indoors, but overall, Shimbol has a home run with this one.
And again, this was sent out to us for free, but we're not being paid, and Shimbol does not have any say in what goes into our video. This is our honest opinion, and we stand by it.
Thank you guys for watching. As always, like this video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace!
Peace. And he's off. All right, I think that'll do, eh?
Cut, cut, cut.
Cut, 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 cut.